On Thanksgiving Day is when Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Both teams counting their blessings because a path to the playoffs still exists, with the Chiefs entering Thanksgiving 8% chance to win the Super Bowl. Still, according to our analytics, that's fourth highest percentage of any other team. The Cowboys, on the other hand, have just an 8% chance too, but that is for them to make the playoffs. So exact same, Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, Cowboys just to simply make the playoffs. Kmart's with us now. Kimberly Martin is here. And so which is more likely, the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl or just the Cowboys making it into the dance?
This is tough, but I'm going to say Cowboys making it into the dance because I think part of it for me, the calculus is the Eagles. And I thought the Eagles would run away with that division. And instead, yes, their record is good, but I don't have the same level of confidence in them. Whereas the Cowboys, when you check in on Dallas, like I had a coach tell me that 21-point deficit that they had against Philly, they came back and Schottenheimer literally was like instilling the confidence in them, saying everybody believed we can come back one play at a time. 21 points. The old Cowboys, I feel like that would have been it. They would have completely imploded, and instead their new head coach has them in a position of we can beat anybody. With the Chiefs, I don't know. They still have Patrick Mahomes, but it just looks so hard. And when their offense, everything just seems really hard. Patrick is not playing as well as he had been. And you look at Dak Prescott, him and Matthew Stafford playing the best QB of anybody right now, best ball. So I'm going to say Cowboys because getting into the playoffs seems a little bit easier than the Chiefs taking it all the way through the AFC to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a very tricky call. You could go either way. I'm going to say the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. First off, if they make the playoffs, that AFC postseason's wide open. We don't know about Denver's offense. Drake May's a young player, and obviously Indianapolis just showed you some warts. And if they get into the postseason, they need 11 to do it because they don't have tiebreaker. With Mahomes, they'd have any chance to win a game. Dallas's problem to me, San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams, they're going to make the playoffs. Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit, excellent chance to make the playoffs. And then Tampa, Philly. There's no room for Dallas because you got the three teams in the NFC West and you got the three good teams in the NFC North. And how many teams can get in? There's not as many. So Dallas would have to maybe run the table to get in. And at the very least, go 10-6-1. And that may not even be enough because 11-5 might be the team.
Do you not think they can run the table? When you're playing Detroit, Vikings, Chargers.
They can win the last. Well, the Charger game is hard. The Lion game is hard. And tomorrow's hard. So they got 3 hard games winning. That Giant game, last game of the year, Giants have been very competitive.
Yes.
They'd love to knock them out. So I would say Chiefs. I think it's close. I think it's good odds that you could definitely make your answer there with Dallas. Schottenheimer's done a good job. But, Stevie, I'll say Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
That tie, too, against an NFC team is tough for Dallas.
Yes, exactly.
The question is laughable. I'm not talking about the producers. It just makes me laugh. So the choice that I have to pick is between the Chiefs managing to figure out a way to do what they normally do, or the Dallas Cowboys managing a way to avoid what they usually do. Good luck with that. I'm going with the Chiefs to answer to this question, okay? I think they're going to beat the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving, ruin Thanksgiving for the Dallas Cowboy fans. Nothing pleases me more. And then after that, Dallas will probably win the final 5 games. I think they can win the final 5 games and end up 10-6-1, but still, that's not going to be enough in all likelihood. And why would that be? Because you lost to Chicago, you tied with Green Bay, okay? You lost to Carolina, all right? Even though Arizona's not in the mix, you lost to them too. 2 of the teams ahead of you lost to. Another team you tied with, okay? And I can't see you catching the Eagles for the division crown. So for me, that's how I look at it. I think that the Dallas Cowboys making the playoffs is an absolute long shot. Whereas if the Chiefs win this game and they decide to go on a run of their own, there's room for them within the AFC to overtake a few of those cats and to end up as a wild card. I don't think they win the AFC West either. But I do think they'll get in as a wild card. So I think the Chiefs are the answer to this question. just because of history alone.
What's wild is this question should have probably been, which team do you trust more? Because it feels like we're banking on Kansas City even making the playoffs. They're not a shoo-in right now. They have to win some games here. There's not a lot of wiggle room for either of these teams. But I feel like everyone just banks on Kansas City figuring it out in the months of December and January.
You're leaning on past history. The problem is, and I've been one to do that because of 15, right? But if you just look at the Chiefs and how they're playing, if you did not know that they were the Kansas City Chiefs and just watch them on tape, you'd be like, oh, like the quarterback just doesn't see, like easy throws, like just the offense, like the run, all of it. I don't know. It's hard to rule out the Chiefs, but if you just look at how they played this year, there's no guarantee that they'll be able to pull off what they've pulled off in the past.
I think Dallas has a little more momentum right now.
Right.
They won against the Raiders. Great comeback. Even last week, Kim, I know you were at the Cincinnati game. They didn't play that great against the Colts. They were very lucky to get out of that game.
Yeah.
They were lucky. I didn't walk away saying, wow, the Chiefs are back. But I did walk away from the Dallas game saying to myself, wow, Dallas, this is a miracle win. They have that intangible going right now with the terrible tragedy. There's a lot of life. They got two good receivers. Schedule's a little easier. Chiefs have to play the Chargers in Denver.
They got they've got
their
defensive
defense. They made a couple trades.
Yes.
So I get a sense that Dallas has an opportunity.
Let's stay with the trades here, because now that we're saying this about Dallas, that they've got some momentum, they've won 2 in a row, they have a big matchup on Thanksgiving. That's winnable, you could argue, against Kansas City. Are Jerry's moves at the trade deadline now validated? Stephen A., what do you think?
I think to some degree it is. When you look at the way the defense has looked, I mean, listen, I don't think that Kenny Clark and 2 late first-round picks qualify for a replacement for Micah Parsons. But then when you look at acquiring Quinnen Williams and the way that he's been balling since he's arrived, Logan Wilson, and you look at Overshown being back and how their defense has looked overall, there's no denying that there's vast improvement. And you look at the fact they've given up 90. This is a team that anybody could run on. And suddenly over the last 2 games, they've given up a grand total of 90 yards rushing. And so we see the impact that Williams has had on that defense and how they look, how much better they look. And if they continue to look this way as a defense, okay, then I don't think anybody's going to be able to look at them and fault them for not giving Micah Parsons $47 to $48 million, especially when you went up against them and it was a tie on the books where you dropped 40 on Green Bay's defense. And so, and your defense wasn't anything like it is now. So we got to look at those things and say to ourselves, yeah, that it does look better. The only potential hiccup, though, is that trading Micah Parsons, what did it cost you in terms of the games where your defense was so awful? Had you been better earlier, you wouldn't be in this predicament. That would be one thing to hold against Jerry, but not anything else.
The issue for
Cowboys Nation, get ready, because what we're witnessing right now is one of the most dramatic, unexpected, momentum-shifting transformations in the entire NFL. And it's happening right here in Dallas, right in front of our eyes. With a Thanksgiving showdown on deck against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cowboys find themselves in a position nobody thought they'd be in 2 weeks ago, riding a 2-game win streak, pulling off one of the greatest comebacks in franchise history, and suddenly fielding a defense that looks nothing like the battered, inconsistent unit we saw earlier in the season. This team, this locker room, this defense, and this moment are different. And now, the greatest quarterback in football is standing in front of reporters, giving the Cowboys the kind of praise that means everything. This isn't empty flattery. This isn't courtesy praise before a game. This is Patrick Mahomes acknowledging publicly that the Dallas Cowboys defense has become a serious problem. And when Mahomes talks, the league listens, because Mahomes doesn't compliment defenses unless they earn it. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys have earned every bit of it. Let's break it down. Let's break down why Mahomes is praising Dallas, why this matters, why this should fire up every single Cowboys fan watching, and why Thursday's matchup is suddenly one of the most compelling games on the NFL calendar. Mahomes was asked about the Cowboys' defense, and instead of brushing off the question or giving generic coach speak, he went straight into specifics. He said what everyone who has been paying attention already knows, that this defense is finally playing at a higher level because the pieces have changed and the understanding of the scheme has matured. He said the Cowboys have added players, that they've gotten players healthy, and that the defense is playing at a higher level than they were at the beginning of the year. That is Mahomes openly acknowledging what opponents have been feeling on the field the last few weeks. This Cowboys defense is suddenly fast, physical, disciplined, and fueled by the additions of Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson. And let's be honest, the turnaround is undeniable. After weeks of shaky run defense, missed tackles, blown coverages, and communication breakdowns, the Cowboys have flipped the switch. Quinnen Williams has completely restructured the interior of this defense. He's drawing double teams, collapsing the pocket, swallowing up the inside run, and bringing the exact kind of physical presence this team has lacked since the early days of Micah Parsons. Logan Wilson, meanwhile, has transformed the second level. His anticipation, his discipline, his knowledge of spacing, and his ability to read quarterbacks have elevated the linebacker play in a way the Cowboys desperately needed. And then there's the identity shift. The Cowboys were once a finesse defense, dependent on speed and splash plays. Now there's something entirely different. A defense with a backbone, a defense that can punch back, a defense that can dictate terms instead of react, a defense that can drag opponents into slow, grinding, uncomfortable football. And Mahomes sees that. He sees it on film. He sees it in the tape that has forced him to prepare differently for Thursday. But here's the part that should make every Cowboys fan sit up with pride. Mahomes mentioned the coaching. He specifically pointed out Matt Eberflus, praising how well Dallas is coached, how disciplined they look, how fast they are to the football, and how consistent their pursuit angles have become. That doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen overnight, and that certainly doesn't happen without the entire defensive staff being all in on a complete reset of their approach after the bye week. Mahomes also pointed out something powerful, something that connects Dallas and Kansas City in a way most fans aren't thinking about, that both teams are fighting for their playoff lives. This is not the 2020 Chiefs that could coast into January. This Chiefs team is inconsistent, struggling to score and making uncharacteristic mistakes. And Mahomes knows Dallas is playing with urgency and belief. He said Dallas has responded these last few weeks and played really good football, and that Thursday will be a great challenge. Let that sink in. Patrick Mahomes is telling the world that the Dallas Cowboys are a great challenge. How long has it been since the Cowboys earned that level of respect from the best quarterback in the sport? But let's talk about what this means for Thursday. And yes, Cowboys Nation, it's huge. The Chiefs have struggled offensively this year. Their offensive line has been shaky. Their receivers lead the league in dropped passes, and Mahomes has had to carry more than any quarterback should. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' pass rush has awakened. Osa Odighizuwa is playing the best football of his career. Quinnen Williams is commanding the line of scrimmage. Sam Williams is emerging as a disruptive rotational force. And the coverage unit, from Deron Bland to Trey Herndon to Jordan Lewis, is starting to settle into its roles. If Dallas can get pressure up the middle, if they can hit Mahomes early, frustrate him, move him off his spot, and force deep developing routes into tight coverage windows, this defense has a legitimate chance to make Thursday a statement game. Now, let's talk about the momentum, because Thursday is not just another game. This is an opportunity to prove to the NFL that Dallas is alive, awake, and dangerous. The comeback win over Philadelphia wasn't just a fluke. It wasn't just a lucky bounce or a collapse by the Eagles. It was a psychological turning point, the kind of win that tests your soul, your belief, your energy, your connection as a team. And the Cowboys passed that test. Dak Prescott passed that test. The entire defensive unit passed that test. And this Thursday, against Mahomes, they get the chance to take the next step. If Dallas wins, everything changes. Everything. The playoff picture shifts. The national narrative shifts. The expectations shift. And now, even the Chiefs are acknowledging it. This is the part of the season where teams either crack under pressure or rise into something greater. And right now, Dallas is rising. The mistakes are fewer, the energy is higher, the confidence is real, and the additions, Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, the return of key players have turned a broken defensive identity into a force that even the Chiefs must take seriously. Now, Cowboys Nation, let me make this loud and clear. Thursday is winnable. Yes, the Chiefs are dangerous. Yes, Mahomes is special. Yes, Andy Reid is brilliant, but this is not a mismatch. This is not the old version of Dallas folding under the spotlight. This is a battle between two desperate, hungry teams fighting to keep their seasons alive. And the Cowboys have something Kansas City does not right now: momentum. And let's not forget, Dallas is playing at home, where Dak Prescott has been almost unbeatable against NFC opponents. The crowd will be electric, the energy will be real, and the defense will have every opportunity to make life miserable for Mahomes. Cowboys Nation, this is the moment. Everything is on the line, and everything Dallas has built these last few weeks, discipline, identity, physicality, belief, comes down to this game. And if Mahomes is openly saying the Cowboys defense is legit, then the league better start believing it too. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the Cowboys can shock the world on Thanksgiving? Do you believe this defense is ready to go toe-to-toe with Mahomes? Drop your opinion below. Hit that like button if you're rocking with Cowboys Nation Report. Subscribe for more daily Cowboys news. And let's get ready for a Thanksgiving showdown that could rewrite the story of this entire season. Dallas is coming. And on Thursday, the whole world will be watching.